My beloved child, I have seen you walk through that long journey, not with ease, but with a courage born in tears, in silent prayer, and in the moments when you thought you no longer had enough strength, yet still chose to rise one more time. You have learned many things not in noisy places, not amid the applause of the world, but in quiet spaces where there were only you and me. It was in that hidden place that I taught you how to endure without becoming bitter, how to wait without falling into despair, how to love without losing the purity of your heart, and how to keep believing when every outward sign seemed unchanged. Now you are no longer the same as you were on the first day. Full of confusion, I have formed within you a gentle steadfastness, not so hard that it becomes unfeeling, and not so fragile that it breaks before every wind. You have passed through the season of testing with courage, and now I am calling you to continue with perseverance. Do not think that the lessons you received in loneliness were meant for you alone. There are things I have placed within you, not so you may keep them hidden like secret treasures, but so that at the right time, they may become light for others. The times you fell and were lifted by me will teach you how to reach out your hand to someone who is stumbling. The nights when you once cried in silence will give your words of comfort a tender weight. The paths you once walked through fear will help you recognize the eyes of those who are trying to appear strong, while inwardly they are weary. You will not need to create influence through display or a loud voice. When I am alive within you, your very life will become a quiet testimony. Your presence will carry a peace that others can feel even before they understand it. They will wonder why, when they are near you, their hearts become calmer, why your words are not sharp, yet still reach deep, why your eyes do not condemn, yet still make them desire to return to what is good. You know the answer, because this is not something you created by yourself. It is the trace of me shining through a heart that has allowed me to shape it. I want you to remember that true maturity does not lead you away from your first simplicity. Many people, as they go farther on the spiritual journey, forget where they began, forget the small whisper that once melted their hearts, forget the first moment they spoke to me with all sincerity. Do not be like that. Keep the tenderness within your heart. Keep a pure reverence, not a fear that makes you run away, but a holy honor that makes you want to draw nearer. Keep the ability to be moved by a small thing I do in an ordinary day, because not everything holy comes in a grand form. Sometimes I come to you through a quiet morning, through a casual word spoken at exactly the right time, through a stranger who needs encouragement, through a gentle prompting that causes you to stop and pray, or through a door that closes, which only later you understand was my protection. My child, I will continue to speak and teach you, but do not look for me only in dazzling things. Do not expect to hear me only through signs that shake your heart. I am the one who can speak through fire, but I am also the one who can come in a gentle whisper. I can part the sea, but I can also guide you through a small peace placed deep within your heart. I can send someone to speak to you, but I can also use silence itself to draw you closer. Therefore, learn to listen with an awakened heart. When you pass by someone and compassion suddenly rises within you, do not take it lightly. When you read something familiar and today it suddenly shines with a new meaning, do not overlook it too quickly. When you wake from a vague dream, and there remains in your heart a prompting toward what is good, bring it before me. I do not lead you through confusion. I lead you through peace, through uprightness, through love, and through wisdom that does not draw you away from the light. Do you remember Samuel when he was still a young boy in the temple? That night, when everything was covered in stillness, he heard a voice calling him. Though at first he did not recognize that it was my voice. He ran to his teacher, thinking Eli was the one calling. But after several times, He learned how to answer with listening and readiness. Do you see? Even the one who is called must learn to recognize the call. I did not reproach Samuel's immaturity. I patiently called until he knew how to turn his heart toward me. It is the same with you. There are seasons when I am training the ears of your heart to distinguish between noise and guidance, between haste and divine assignment, between human ambition and zeal that comes from me. Do not be discouraged when you do not immediately understand. Simply return humbly to the place of stillness, and I will teach you to recognize me more clearly each day. From now on, you will not live as one dragged along by heavy obligation, but as one led by a love that has taken hold of your heart. The covenant life I am calling you into is not a cold chain, nor is it a burden that steals your joy. It is a holy attachment, where you choose me not only because of what I give, but because I, myself, am the place where your heart belongs. You will learn to love what I love, to grieve over what grieves me, to rejoice in what pleases me, and to turn away from what darkens your heart. No one will need to force you to live differently, because when true love has taken root, the difference will naturally bloom. People will see in the way you speak, the way you remain silent, the way you forgive, the way you work, and the way you lift up the weak, that another source of life is flowing within you. But my beloved child, stay watchful. What is most precious is often not stolen in one violent moment, but through small distractions. A little busyness can cause you to forget stillness. A little bitterness can cause your heart to close. A little self-satisfaction can make you stop seeking my counsel as before. A little weariness that is not brought before me can gradually become coldness. Therefore, keep your lamp burning by returning to me each day. You do not need long, ornate words, only honesty. You do not need to prove that you are strong. Only open your heart so I can renew you. When the world around you becomes complicated, return to the simplest truth. I love you. I have called you. I am with you, and you are meant to live in my presence. Then you will see that this journey is not a race to become someone great in the eyes of the world, but a deeper return to what I placed within you from the beginning. The closer you come to me, the more you become who I created you to be. The more you allow me to lead, the lighter your steps become. Even when your responsibilities grow greater, the more you keep your heart pure, the clearer the light within you becomes. Keep walking, my child. Bring what I have taught you in the hidden place into daily life with humility. Let your heart be a lamp that does not boast of itself, but faithfully shines. And whenever you grow weary, return to that first quiet place where you once whispered your yes. I am still there. I am still waiting for you with unchanging love. I am still ready to walk with you, step by step, day by day, until what I began within you blossoms in complete beauty. My beloved child, listen to my words with a quiet heart. For today, I do not call you with a voice of punishment, but with the voice of love that has followed you through so many stormy seasons. There are times when you look at yourself and see only your shortcomings, your hesitations, the things still unfinished, the wounds still aching, the times you failed, and the dreams once buried beneath the dust of time. But I do not look at you with such a narrow gaze. I see within you a seed I placed there long ago, a flame still glowing beneath the ashes, a calling that has never gone out even though many times you wanted to become silent. I did not choose you because you have never trembled. I chose you because even in trembling, you still know how to return to me. I did not call you because you already have every answer. I called you because you are willing to let me lead you through every question. What I seek in you is not polished perfection before the eyes of the world, but a tender heart that knows how to surrender, that knows how to say, "Lead me," even when you cannot yet see the whole road. From ancient days, I have not sought those who thought themselves complete in order to do great things. I have called those who hesitated, those who were timid, those who thought themselves small, so that through that very smallness, my power would be revealed in radiant ways. One stood before a burning bush and still felt his lips were clumsy. One hid in secret because of fear, yet I called him a mighty man. One was only a young shepherd in the fields, more accustomed to sheep than to a throne. Yet I saw in him what human eyes overlooked. Do you see? I am not limited by age, past, circumstance, judgment, or the labels others place upon your life. When I place my hand upon someone, what is ordinary can become a holy instrument. What is overlooked can become a sign of grace. And what was once broken can become a vessel holding the fragrance of healing for many. Therefore, do not be quick to reject yourself simply because you have passed through darkness. The places where you cried were not forgotten places. They may have been quiet altars, where I gathered every tear and turned them into gentle wisdom. The wounds you endured were not meant to define you as a failure, but to teach you how to lift others with deeper compassion. You will be able to comfort the fearful, because you know what trembling feels like in the long night. You will be able to tell the exhausted that hope still remains, because you once sat among ruins and were still lifted by me. You will be able to guide the lost, not with the pride of someone standing high above them, but with the humility of one who once needed to be led by the hand. I do not waste anything in your life. Even the seasons you thought were loss, I can still turn into seed for a good harvest. There is a story I want you to remember. When Naaman, the powerful commander from a distant land, carried within him a disease that brought him pain and shame, I did not heal him through a dazzling ritual. I used an instruction that seemed too simple. Go down into the Jordan and wash. At first, pride made it difficult for him to accept, because he expected a grand method, a sign that would astonish everyone. But when he humbled himself and obeyed what had been spoken, healing came through quiet obedience. My child, sometimes the miracle I have for you does not begin with great resounding signs, but with one small step you are willing to take in faith. A word of forgiveness, one more rising, a decision to leave an old place, an act of service, even while your heart still trembles, the reopening of a dream you had once buried. It is in those seemingly small steps that I open new waters to wash away shame, refresh courage, and prove that what I do does not need to match your expectations in order to become wondrous. Now I call you to rise, not by your own strength that once left you exhausted, but by the new life I have placed within you. Do not keep standing too long outside the door of promise simply because you are afraid you may fail again. Do not allow the voices of the world to become chains around your steps. Do not allow gossip to make you forget that my calling always carries greater authority than every human opinion. You were not created to hide forever in the room of fear. You are called to step out, to bring light where light has been lacking, to sow peace where there has been turmoil, to become a gentle sign that I still restore, still heal, still renew, still lift those who thought they could no longer stand. Dare to dream again, but this time place the dream in my hands. Dare to love again, but this time let love be guided by wisdom. Dare to serve again, but this time serve from a heart nourished by me, not from fear that you must prove your worth. I know there are old dreams of yours that have been covered in dust because of disappointment. There are promises you once held close that now seem like distant echoes. There are parts of you that once burned brightly, then grew quiet after too many collisions. But I am the one who calls what has fallen asleep to awaken. I am the one who can make dry ground bloom, make songs return after a season of mourning, and make hands that once let go take hold of hope again. Do not take lightly what I am stirring within you, a holy desire, a new compassion, a prompting to step out and help others, a longing to live more uprightly. All of these can be signs that I am breathing new life into your journey. Guard these things, nourish them with prayer, obedience, and perseverance in the days when you have not yet seen results. What I sow, if you do not give up, will grow in its proper season. One day, you will look back and realize that I was with you on the paths where you felt most alone. In the days when you thought you were abandoned, I was shielding you from what you did not yet know. In the long nights when you could not sleep, I was still watching over you with tireless love. In the battles you thought you endured alone, heavenly protection was silently surrounding you. You did not always see me, but I always saw you. You did not always feel me, but I never left you. There were times when I carried you through the valley while you thought you were crawling through by the last bit of strength you had. There were times when I closed a door to save you from a path that looked beautiful on the outside but was dangerous within. There were times when I allowed you to wait, not to torment you, but to prepare you to receive something greater without losing your peace. Therefore, my child, be strong in the way of one who knows they are loved, not in the way of one who must strain to survive. Be steadfast, not because circumstances have changed immediately before your eyes, but because the one who holds you never changes. Walk in the light, even when much darkness still surrounds you, because even one small lamp can break the thickness of the night. Declare what I have placed within you through a faithful life, through kindness, through endurance, through a faith that refuses to bow before despair. The good work I have begun in you, I will not abandon halfway. I am not the one who begins and then forgets. I am your Father, the keeper of promises, the one who lifts you up, sends you forth, and walks with you until what was written in love before you even realized you were called is brought to completion. My beloved child, let your heart become still in this moment and hear me speak with the tenderness of a father who is always nearer to you than your very breath. There are days when you look ahead and see only clouds covering the way. Hours when you want to believe, but your heart still trembles. Steps you have already taken while your feet still hesitate because you fear you may lose your way. But, my child, I do not blame you for those fears. I know the marks the past has left behind. I know the times you hoped and then were disappointed, opened your heart and then were wounded, tried to rise and yet still felt weakness within. Because I know, today, I do not come to demand that you become strong immediately. I come to remind you that you are allowed to lean on me, allowed to lay every burden down, allowed to slow your steps within the safety of my arms. When you trust me, not with hurried words, but with deep surrender in your heart, you will see that the road before you is no longer an abyss that terrifies you, but a journey I am opening step by step beneath your feet. Do not think that trust means never having questions. True trust is not pretending that you are not afraid, but choosing to hold my hand even while fear remains. Even when you have not yet seen the whole picture, you still believe that the one painting your life never makes a mistake. Even when you do not understand why a door has closed, you still believe that I do not take anything from you merely to leave you empty, but to make room for what is timely, right, and aligned with my loving intention. There are paths I open that do not resemble what you prayed for, but later you will understand that those very paths saved you from things you could not see. There are delays that hurt your heart, yet they are fences of grace. There are silences that make you think I have stopped speaking, when in truth I am working in the deep places. preparing for you a peace stronger than every outward circumstance. Remember that you do not step into the future as an orphan in a vast and distant land. You walk as a child protected by your Father, guided by light from heaven, and covered by unchanging love through every season. I do not promise that every road will be smooth, but I promise you will not have to walk alone. I do not promise that you will not meet strong winds, but I promise my hand will keep you from being swept away. I do not promise that you will always understand immediately what I am doing, but I promise that not one moment of your life is outside my care. When you thought you were falling, I was there to lift you. When you thought you had lost direction, I lit a quiet lamp within your heart. When you thought you were about to stumble, I had already gone before you to clear away sharp stones your eyes had not yet noticed. Do you remember the story of Peter on the stormy sea, when he saw his teacher walking on the water amid the fierce wind? He courageously stepped out of the boat, but when his eyes shifted away from the one who was calling him and began to look at the great waves, his heart wavered, and he began to sink. What is beautiful is not that he walked perfectly, but that when he cried out in weakness, the Lord's hand immediately reached out and took hold of him. My child, I want you to understand this. I do not wait until you sink deeply before showing mercy. I do not stand far away to see whether you are worthy of help. As soon as you turn toward me, as soon as you call to me in truth, I will take hold of you. Sometimes the miracle is not that the waves stop immediately, but that you recognize I am still there in the midst of the waves, close enough to hold you, powerful enough to bring you back to peace. Therefore, do not allow the voices of anxiety to rule your decisions. Fear often speaks loudly, but it is not your master. The past may repeat the things that wounded you, but the past has no authority to write the ending of your life. The judgments of others may shake you, but they are not the final voice over your worth. I am the one who has known you from the beginning. I am the one who has seen everything you have overcome. I am the one who called you with love before you could prove anything. You are safe in me not because the world has become gentler, but because my arms do not change. You are protected not because you can control everything, but because I am guarding things beyond your ability to grasp. Every decision you place before me, I will illuminate with wisdom. Sometimes I answer through an open door, sometimes through a gentle prompting, sometimes through a holy uneasiness that causes you to stop, sometimes through counsel from a righteous person, and sometimes through a waiting you do not yet understand. But learn to discern this. My guidance does not push you into chaos, does not force you to hurry and panic, and does not cause you to lose the purity of your heart. My way may require courage, but it always carries deep peace. My intention may lead you through trials, but it never leaves you in despair. My love may correct you, but it never humiliates you. When you walk after me, you will see that every small choice is covered with grace. Every quiet step is remembered, and every ordinary day bears traces of my presence. From this moment on, stop living as though the future were a dark forest you must navigate alone. Your future is not an undefined emptiness. It rests in my hands, the hands of the one who loves you with a love more steadfast than high mountains, deeper than wide seas, gentler than the dawn after a long night. I have prepared new seasons for you, not only filled with things you desire, but also filled with things that will mature you, heal you, expand you, and make you shine brighter in love. There are blessings coming that will not draw you away from me, but bring you nearer to me. There are people I will place along your path, not to replace me in your heart, but to remind you that my kindness can touch you through gentle hands. There are opportunities I will open, not so you may boast in your own strength, but so you may recognize the grace that carried you through the places you once thought you could not cross. Walk forward, my beloved child, not with the haste of one afraid of losing their portion, but with the steadiness of one who knows they are being led. Breathe deeply in the peace I give, because that peace does not depend on today's news, on other people's attitudes, or on the unexpected changes of life. My peace can remain with you in the waiting room, at the crossroads, amid questions that have not yet been answered, and in the days when you are still learning how to trust. When you place your hand in mine, you will see that you do not need to know everything in order to keep moving forward. You only need to know that I am the one walking with you, and my love for you does not diminish because of your weakness, your slow understanding, or the times when you are afraid. One day, you will look back and realize that I was present in every detail, in the time when you thought you were alone, but were supported at just the right moment, in the decision you almost made wrongly, but were restrained from, in the closed door that made you cry, but later became protection, in the nights when you begged only for a little peace, and still found strength the next morning to continue. You will understand that I am not only leading you to a hopeful future, but also turning the very journey toward it into a place where you encounter me more deeply. So trust me one more time. Lay down what you cannot control. Receive the peace I place in your heart. Walk in a faith that is tender, yet enduring. I am here. I am leading you. I am keeping you. And I will never abandon you on the road I have called you to walk. My child, do not look at the road ahead with eyes too weary from old disappointments. There are paths I have not opened immediately, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am preparing you to walk with greater steadiness. I know where the sharp stones are, where the deep ravines are, and where traps are hidden beneath a beautiful appearance. You may not see everything, but I see. You may not understand immediately, but I am leading. My guidance is not like the hurried calls of the world, telling you today to go one way and tomorrow pulling you another. My way is marked by peace, grounded in what is good, and lit by love. When you allow me to hold your hand, you will not need to know the whole journey from the beginning. You only need to take one step in trust, then another step in gentle obedience, and I will do the rest. Do you remember the story of Elijah, the one who once stood before fierce power, who saw fire fall from heaven, who witnessed my hand move in wondrous ways, and yet also had a moment when he became so exhausted that he only wanted to lie down beneath a tree and give up everything? I did not rebuke him for being tired. I did not punish him for his fear. I sent an angel to touch him, to give him bread, to give him water, so he could rest and then rise again. Do you see? Sometimes the holiest thing I do for you is not to immediately give you a great victory, but to nourish you through a small meal, a peaceful sleep, a gentle touch, a reminder that the journey is long, but you are not abandoned. After that, I led Elijah to a place of stillness, not only so he could hear powerful sounds, but so he could recognize my presence in deep gentleness. It is the same with you. I do not always lead you through dazzling signs. Often I lead you through a very light sense of peace, a stirring of caution in your heart, a door closing at the right time, a person sent to encourage you, or a silence that helps you see clearly what you had previously overlooked. Therefore, when you are confused among many choices, return to me before running after outward voices. Let your heart settle in my presence, for muddy water makes it hard to see the bottom, but still water reflects the sky. When you are too rushed, you can easily mistake noise for guidance. When you are too afraid, you can easily choose what is familiar, even though it no longer nourishes you. When you are too wounded, You can easily think that every door has closed against you, but I want you to know that not every closed door is a loss. There are doors I close to protect you from what you are not yet able to see, and not every delay is rejection. There are waiting seasons I use to cause your roots to grow deeper, so that when the blessing comes, you will not be swept away by the winds of life. I will not place you on the road and then stand far away watching you struggle. I go before you to prepare the way, walk beside you to lift you when your heart grows weak, and come behind you to gather the broken pieces you thought were lost. Every decision you surrender to me, I will illuminate. Every step you choose in uprightness, I will strengthen. Every time you stumble but still return, I will receive you with mercy and not with coldness. Do not think my help is only for those who have never made mistakes. I am a compassionate Father, and I know your dust. I know how you have fought in silence, how you have tried to appear fine while storms raged within, how many times you smiled even though your heart only wanted rest. I see it all, and I do not take a single tear of yours lightly. From today on, learn to receive strength from me instead of only trying to drain yourself completely. There is diligence that I love, but there is also striving born from fear. I do not want you to live like someone who must always prove their worth. Your worth was already placed in my love before you accomplished anything. Work with faithfulness, but do not turn work into chains. Care for those I have entrusted to you, but do not forget to let me care for you. Walk courageously, but do not confuse courage with never needing rest. Even the earth needs quiet seasons to revive. Even a tree needs the night to grow in silence. You too need to abide in me, to listen, and to be healed by my tenderness. Then the time will come when you look back and understand that the days that seemed filled only with weariness became the place where I taught you trust. The turns that once frightened you became the roads I used to bring you into a new land. The moments when you did not know where to go became opportunities for you to recognize that my light had never gone out. You will no longer walk like someone abandoned in the long night, but like a child led by your Father through every valley, every hillside, and every dawn. Let me be your strength. Let me be your light. Let me be the place you return to after every storm. And when you rest in me, you will discover this wonder. You are not only restored so that you can keep living, but renewed so that you can live more deeply, more brightly, more gently, and more steadily in the love that will never leave you.